Hey, Shalom is Ra'ah with the Highest Way Ministry coming back at you on day 5, Feast of Tabernacles. Well, I hope you're doing well. I hope your energy is still high. You know, at this point, it kind of gets rocky. Everybody's ready to go home. Everybody's tired of being uncomfortable. But I want to encourage you to continue to push through. You know, and as always, I greet you in the name of the Most High, El Elyon. And you know, we are just continuing the topic of oneness, marriage, uh, characteristics, things that go unspoken, things to explain woman's role, man's role, the things that we should be teaching our daughters. Because, you know, before I got on here, you know, I was in the shower. And matter of fact, I was disheartened at the number of women that I would allow around my daughter. Like leaving your children around people that can impart to them. I'm like, broken people can't help my daughter. Repentant, recovered people can help my child. But the majority of women and men aren't, you know, what can they say to my son, right? Could they help and impart something that maybe my wife didn't instill in my daughter or her grandmother? I'm like, a lot of women really are struggling with their own identity, their own salvation, their own walk with the Most High. You can see it in their relationships with men. It's kind of why I'm doing this whole series, for something I say to help, right? We started out with man finding a good wife, man leaving his home to find a wife. We started talking about virtuous women and different characteristics, right? We're gonna pick right back up in this series with that, right? We ended day 4 talking about virtuous women, talking about divorce rates. Everybody thinks it's about affairs. It's the number one reason people get divorced is because they never knew what it took for them to play their role in the marriage, right? The number 2 reason is uh, the support or the standard of living changes, so women file divorce, right? You know that women right now are outpacing men in salary jobs and incomes. That's kind of the reason why they say they don't need a man anymore. They make more than them. They're the breadwinner. So they they never were taught to submit to a man. So they're never going to submit to a man, and they make more than them, right? And then they're crying 50-50. Well, 50 years ago, wasn't no 50-50. So first, the enemy had to, you know, separate husband and wife, create the DHS system, Section 8 living. Then those children of those mothers will grow up saying, I don't need a man, right? And those that are lucky to not have children after high school and they can go to college and not have children during college, well, those are the professional women that we see. It's not a lot of them women out there. The few is now saying they don't need a man because they're fortunate enough to not have children so they can chase PhDs and dreams. But I'm telling you, I grew up on the street, and I'm telling you, them sisters right there that was having babies, they was chasing Pookies and Ray Rays, and they was having babies with nobody, and their man looks like the guy making 5,000, 10,000 a day, driving the Cutlasses, Cadillacs on 20-inch rims, going to jail, and while he in jail, she sleeping and get pregnant with his homie, right? Like these women are now in their 40s, early 50s, right? And they're trying to forget the past. That while they were raising their daughters and sons, they weren't raising them correct, and they act like their children didn't see the dysfunctional behavior. Well, heck, I just went on a whole rabbit hole. What is my point? Women don't want to teach each other because they know the characteristics of a bad woman. And they assume, I guess, that every woman is bad. I can only guess that because I don't see a lot of women out here talking about anything that makes a young girl not put on halter tops and not twerk every time she hears music, right? I just I just don't see women saying anything that these young girls are going to course correct from the bad behavior. I don't need a man, but they keep having these darn bad babies. Like, I want to stop that bleeding. So let's pick back up at Virtuous Women. Let's go back to Ecclesiasticus chapter 26. Let's start at verse 2, right? And I know many of you saying, well, he skipped. He went 1 to 3. Well, let's read verse 2. Verse 2 says, a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. And women today could care less about men having peace, husband having peace. They made it this whole dual thing. Well, whatever the Bible say a man should have, women want it now, right? Like, if it say the man should have peace, women say I need peace, right? It's like whatever the argument is, the contrary is, well, a woman can do it, or a woman should have it, or a man should be doing this, or a man should be doing that. Man should be submissive to me, right? They'll say something that they know they can't clearly read, right? But you remember a virtuous woman was godly, she was family oriented, she was hardworking, she was business savvy, all of that, right? So it says here, a virtuous woman rejoices in her husband. She can make his lifetime, like lifespan, I think it said in verse 1, his number of years will double. But not only double, verse 2 says he will have a life of peace, right? Now, sisters, you may be listening to me saying, that ain't what I'm thinking, right? That ain't how I was raised. But the bigger question is, how are you raising your daughters, your nieces, and the young girls around you that you influence as soon as you start talking about relationships, right? Because it seems like all women know everything about relationships, but not really. Let's drop down to verse 13. Verse 13 in 26 says, the grace of a wife delighteth her husband, and her discretion will fatten his bones. Wait a minute. Now we've added something. We had good woman, virtuous woman, agreeable woman. Now it says a graceful woman. So now when you look up the word grace, it says smiles in the midst of struggle, kind to those that disagree. Man, when was the last time you found a woman that was kind to someone who disagreed with her? I read that, I was like, whoa, that's in the definition of grace? Smiles in the midst of struggle? Man, that sound like Big Mama now. That sound like them women back in the 80s and 70s. Women today are not smiling in the midst of struggle, in the majority, right? Kind to those that disagree? I don't know. Well, let's go to our next scripture, our last scripture. Ecclesiasticus 36 and 24. Ecclesiasticus 36 and 24. It reads, he that getteth a wife beginneth a possession, a help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest. Man, let's look at some of these. Let's look at these definitions. He finds a possession, right? So that means the woman under the authority of a man who's not blood related. That's what submission, possession, women like, I ain't nobody's possession. Well, you always under the authority of your boss. Or you're always under the authority of the man where you go down there and pick up your checks, your government checks, your aid. But there's always a man that you are subjected to that's not blood related, right? So that's what the possession means in the Bible. You're under the authority of a man that's not blood related, right? I.e., your husband, Con. And then it says she's a discreet woman, right? And discretion in the scriptures is she behaves or speaks to avoid or cause offense. And she will not reveal private information. That's a discreet woman. She won't reveal private information, and she doesn't speak or behave to cause offense. Wow. How about this last one? She is a pillar of rest. A pillar of rest. Strong, unwavering support through challenges. She's stability to her husband. This is what the scriptures say that they find when you find a good wife, a virtuous wife, a discreet, graceful wife. She is a pillar. Like, don't nobody want to possess something that's stressful, argumentative, won't hold your back when challenges come. She's not smiling when struggles happen. She's arguing, how are we going to fix this? How are we going to get over this? What are you doing? You're the man of the house, blah, 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 right? She's only screaming you're the man of the house when something's wrong and it needs to be fixed. That's not going to double a man's years. That's not going to make his life peace. That's not going to make him happy to go out, work 2, 3, 4 jobs to put food on the table and to keep the necessary things in the household. But women today are like, I don't need a man to do none of that for me. My question is, where did they learn it from? And finally, where are the sisters that help course correct the mindset of these young ladies who are growing up? We got another generation that's coming up that has that same mindset. Who's teaching it to them? I want to know who around me and who do I know, and can I trust my daughter with you if me and her mom is not around? Well, hey, it's day 5. I pray someone learns something. I pray the Most High. You'll see me again on day 6. Y'all be blessed. Enjoy yourself. Shalom.